Hello, my name's James and welcome to the Anxiety Management channel. In this video we're going to be looking at thought challenging using the CBT tool, the Judge. The Judge makes us look at the very evidence of the anxious thought or belief that we are holding. Okay, and this is taken from a client and it is, I will always be like this. And they rate that at 100%. We then encourage them to defend that belief, and they're only allowed to use evidence to defend it, and then we look at prosecuting it, and again we're only allowed to use evidence. So the client tells me that they have been here before, that nothing works, medication doesn't work, and I feel like this all the time. Now obviously this is the person's experience, so it's not for me to say whether this is true or not. This is what they're feeling, this is what they're going through. When we look at prosecuting, we can start to look a little bit about the defence. So again, using completely evidence-based facts, we can tell the client that recovery takes time. Okay? Recovery does take time. It is normally a marathon rather than a sprint. However, it is achievable. And sometimes when we're feeling anxious, it's that we seem to have a lack of patience for things to be better. We want things to be better now. Secondly, you have not always been like this. How can we evidence that? Well, first of all, we go back to the defence. I've been here before, which means at some point there must have been a period of recovery. Also, before that, during their lives, I'm sure they have not spent every year of their life feeling as bad as what they're doing at the moment. This is an illness. Okay? So, illness or disorder. Anxiety itself is an illness or disorder which is transient because it is based on thoughts which are also transient. Again, fact. Review medication. Okay, so if you don't feel your medication is working for you as it says over here, okay, there's no harm in going to see a GP and getting a review on that. Also, it's worth bearing in mind that when we are taking medication for anxiety, it's also worth just remembering those practice techniques such as breathing, relaxation, thought challenging, anything which is going to help reduce the anxiety. Okay, it's not just all about medication, it needs to be a combination between the two. Avoidance. I feel like this all the time is what is said at the end of the defence. Okay, and if we're feeling that way all the time, it's unlikely we're going to be pushing ourselves into situations that we don't feel comfortable in. Also, avoidance doesn't just mean taking yourself out of your comfort zone, it also means you avoid doing stuff like taking care of yourself by eating or hygiene, or even sometimes sleeping can become an anxious thing. So we've got to make sure that we're not avoiding also the normal life skills that we would normally have. Practice the techniques. Okay, it's mentioned here, over here, I have been here before. At some point there would have been a recovery, and I'm hoping that that recovery would have taken place with using some of the anxiety techniques that have been shown. Okay, very often when we feel better, we tend to let anxiety techniques fall by the wayside. We don't need them anymore, we don't tend to use them, but it's worth remembering that they are a toolkit. Okay, anxiety techniques can very definitely help. The last one, you have recovered before. Yeah, that's evidenced. Okay, you have been there before and you've come away from it. Unfortunately, you've relapsed, but you have recovered before, which shows evidentially that it is possible. So when we look at the defence against the prosecution, we've got 4 for the defence. Okay, we've got 7 for the prosecution. And when we have this 100% up here, okay, using the prosecution to actually challenge that should start to make that number reduce. If we can challenge our thoughts, then very often this has a knock-on effect on how we can manage our emotions, how it can manage our physical reactions, and how it can manage our behaviours. And the judge itself can be used on any number of thoughts, anxious or otherwise. Please give it a go. Let me know how you got on. If you enjoyed this video, please click like or subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.